I knew something was wrong the moment my hand slipped off the counter. It was like the world went soft around the edges, colors draining into each other, sounds stretching out like I was underwater. I'd only had half a granola bar all day, not because I forgot to eat, but because every time I reached for food in that house, someone had something to say. My mom was standing across the kitchen, arms folded, watching me with that judgmental squint she always wore when I wasn't doing something for her. "Why are you leaning like that?" she snapped. "Stand up straight, you look sloppy." I blinked hard, trying to focus on her face, but everything was doubling in front of me. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. Mom, my blood sugar, I need... "Oh, stop with that," she cut in. "You always make excuses when it's time to help." I pressed a hand to the fridge door to steady myself. My fingers felt numb, tingling at the tips like they didn't belong to me. The floor swayed. "I just need juice," I breathed out. "I just need something." She rolled her eyes. "You act like we're inconveniencing you when all we ask is loyalty. Lena's coming over. I asked you to clean the living room. Don't start drama before she gets here." My chest tightened, dizziness rising in a wave. I'm not trying to start anything. I'm just..." My knees buckled. The fridge light blurred, the floor tilted, and the last thing I saw before everything went dark was my mom's face. Not concerned, not even surprised, just annoyed. I hit the tile with a dull thud that vibrated up my spine. A sharp ringing filled my ears. My limbs went heavy. My eyes flickered open for a second, just enough to see my mom's shoes walking toward me. But instead of kneeling down, instead of checking my pulse, instead of calling for help, she bent over my purse. I could hear the zipper. I couldn't move. I couldn't even lift my fingers. My mom's voice drifted through the ringing in my ears, casual and irritated. "Well, if you're going to lay there useless, at least I can get that money you owe me." She rummaged through my bag, pulling out my wallet. I saw her thumb through the bills, slowly, counting, deciding how much to take. I tried to force my mouth to move. "Mom, help." She ignored me. "Well," she muttered, shoving cash into her pocket, "if you're dying, you won't need this anyway." Dying. She said it like she was commenting on the weather. My chest rose shallowly, air scraping in and out. My vision went white around the edges. I heard my own heartbeat thudding weakly, slowing down like someone was turning a volume dial. "Don't you dare get up until you're done making a scene," she said to my limp body. She actually stepped over me, my mother, to grab her lipstick from the counter. Then she walked out of the kitchen. Just left me there, on the floor, barely breathing, barely conscious, barely alive. I'm not sure how long I drifted in and out. Maybe minutes, maybe 15. The air felt thick. My body felt cold. My sister Lena walked in next. Bright clothes, fake tan, expensive perfume. She stopped mid-step when she saw me. "Mom!" she yelled toward the living room in annoyance. "Why is she on the floor? This looks desperate." My mom called back casually. "She's pretending. Just step over her." Lena shrugged like I was a spilled drink someone forgot to mop and stepped around me. "Seriously, Taylor," Lena scoffed as she approached the fridge. "You always pick the most dramatic times to fall apart." She shook her head and pulled out a soda for herself, not even glancing at me again as she walked out. I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. I just lay there, barely able to breathe, while they criticized me from the couch like I was interrupting their afternoon. "Mom," Lena said from the living room, "should we call someone? She looks pale." My mom huffed. "She wants attention. Ignoring her is the only way she learns." I remember hearing them laugh about something on the TV. I remember hearing Lena unwrap a candy bar, the crackle of the wrapper loud and sharp as a blade. My stomach twisted, not from hunger, but from something deeper. The realization that my own family could watch me die on the floor and feel nothing, finally, after what felt like an hour but must have been less, my body jerked itself awake with a sudden surge. I gasped, my fingers twitched. vision sharpened enough to see the dusty tile under my cheek. I pulled myself up slowly, using the counter. Everything hurt, but I was awake, alive, barely. I stumbled toward the pantry and grabbed the first thing I saw, a container of honey. I squeezed a spoonful into my mouth with shaking hands. The sweetness hit my bloodstream slowly, a tiny spark of life flickering back on. When I emerged into the living room, still dizzy, my mom looked up. "Oh, look," she said with a slow smirk. "The show's over." Lena snorted. "You really should learn how embarrassing that was." I stared at both of them, for the first time in my entire life. I felt nothing toward them, no loyalty, no longing, no fear, no desire to please, just clarity. I walked to my room, shut the door, and sat on the floor again, but this time by choice. My hands were steady, my pulse was normalizing, my mind was sharp, and the anger wasn't loud anymore. It was quiet, cold, focused. They thought they could take my money, my dignity, my health, my body on the kitchen floor, but they hadn't taken the one thing they should have feared most, my decision, and they would regret the moment they chose my wallet over my life. I woke up the next morning with a headache so heavy it felt like someone was pressing a hand against the inside of my skull. My tongue was dry, my arms weak, and every muscle in my body had that hollow, shaky feeling that comes after a blood sugar crash. My mom didn't knock on my door. She didn't check if I was alive. She didn't care. I could hear her in the kitchen, humming while she made coffee. The same kitchen floor where she had watched me collapse like dead weight the night before. I sat up slowly, touching the spot on my cheek that still felt tender from hitting the tile. My clothes were still wrinkled from sleeping in them. When I stood, my legs trembled again, not from illness this time, but from remembering how easily they stepped over me. I opened the door. Lena was at the counter scrolling her phone, feet up like she owned the place. My mom was wiping the stove, acting like domestic goddess of the year. Neither looked at me. I walked in quietly, hoping for at least a glance of concern. My mom was the first to speak, without turning, without hesitation. "You better not pull that stunt again today. We have errands." "Stunt?" I repeated, voice barely above a whisper. She glanced at me then, a single cold glance. "You fainted on purpose. Don't deny it. You always do something dramatic when you don't want to work." I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. There was no point arguing. They didn't believe me. Not because the truth was unclear, but because they needed the lie. Lena laughed from behind her phone. "Seriously, Taylor. I told Mom you were exaggerating. No one really passes out like that from low blood sugar unless they're lazy." The humiliation burned, but the anger underneath it was colder now, sharper. It didn't swallow me. It steadied me. "I need my wallet," I said quietly. My mom turned, carrying her mug like it was a gold chalice. "Oh, right," she said without shame. "I used some of your money last night. You owe the house for groceries anyway." "I didn't agree to that." She shrugged. "You don't get to agree. You live here. You contribute." I took a step toward her. "Give it back." Lena snorted. "You're acting crazy again." My mom leaned back against the counter. "Look, you should be grateful we even let you stay. You're an adult who can't manage her health, can't hold a stable job, and still expects us to treat you like family. We're doing you a favor." A favor. Stealing from me while I was unconscious. Ignoring my medical emergency. Calling me dramatic for nearly dying. I felt something settle in me. Not rage, not fear, but clarity. "I'm leaving," I said. My mom blinked, then smirked. "No, you're not." "I am." "And go where?" she scoffed. "Who would take you? You can barely take care of yourself?" Lena chimed in. "You'd last 1 week out there. Not even." Their voices overlapped. Insults over insults, predictions of failure, warnings disguised as concern, threats disguised as advice. All the same words they used to trap me growing up. My mom stepped closer, lowering her voice into that tone she used when she wanted to break me. "You aren't leaving. You need us. Without us, you'd fall apart." A strange thing happened then. I didn't feel small. I didn't shrink. I didn't go quiet. I laughed. A short, sharp laugh that made both of them freeze. You think you saved me? I said. You nearly let me die for $40. My mom's smirk faltered. You think I need you? You couldn't even be bothered to check if I had a pulse. Lena rolled her eyes. Oh my God, here we go. You stepped over me, I said louder, pointing at her. You stepped over me on your way to the fridge. She stopped talking. My mom crossed her arms. We don't have time for this. You're being emotional. No, I said. I'm being done. The kitchen went quiet. You could hear the refrigerator hum. You could hear Lena set her phone down. You could hear my mom sharply inhale like she was preparing to attack. You leave, she said coldly, and don't expect a single thing from us ever again. Good, I said. Her eyebrows shot up. What? That's exactly what I want. Nothing. Lena scoffed. You're really going to throw away your family because you fainted? You're seriously that dramatic? I turned toward her. No, I'm throwing away the people who watched me almost die and cared more about my cash than my life. My mom clenched her jaw, annoyed that her tactics weren't working. Fine, she snapped. Leave, but you'll be crawling back. Watch me never crawl again. She stepped forward. You're weak without us. No, I said calmly. I was weak with you. Silence. Real silence. The kind they didn't know how to handle. I walked to my room, grabbed my bag, zipped it slowly, intentionally. When I emerged, both of them were standing there watching me, expecting me to break, expecting me to apologize. I walked past them. My mom grabbed my arm. You're making a mistake. I gently pulled my arm away. No, you made the mistake yesterday. I walked out the door. No tears, no shaking, no doubts. Just steady footsteps and a cold, confident clarity that they could no longer control. Behind me, I heard my mom's voice break into a snarl. You won't survive without us. But the truth was simple. I almost didn't survive with them. And now I was finally free enough to choose what came next. And that next part would make sure they never had access to me, my health, or my money ever again. When I stepped outside, the morning air hit me like a wake-up slap. Cold, sharp, clean. I breathed it in like medicine. My body still felt weak, legs shaky, but my mind had never been clearer. For the first time in years, I wasn't walking towards something they wanted. I was walking away from everything they built to control me. I didn't go far, just 3 streets down to the small community center where the town handled emergency records, assistance programs, and financial evaluations. It wasn't glamorous. Old brick building, flickering lights, a bored receptionist tapping her pen. But it was the one place my mother never imagined I'd walk into, because it was the one place that could take away her power. I stepped up to the window. The clerk, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes, smiled professionally. How can I help you? My voice didn't tremble. My family is using me financially and ignoring my medical needs. I need to separate my name from theirs on every record. Her eyebrows lifted, not shocked but concerned. Do you live with them? Not anymore, I said. I'm done. She nodded slowly and slid a stack of forms toward me. These update household status, emergency contacts, and dependent financial responsibilities. Once these are processed, no one can access your accounts, request emergency decisions for you, or claim your support. Exactly what I needed. I sat in the waiting area and filled out every line. Name, address change. Emergency contacts, none. Authorized access, only me. Financial responsibility, independent. With every signature, I felt another invisible chain fall off. When I handed the forms back, the clerk stamped them one by one. That's it? I asked quietly. That's it, she said. You're on your own record now. No one else can touch it. A weight lifted from my chest so suddenly I almost staggered. For the first time in my life, I legally existed as mine. Not theirs, not owned, not controlled, not financially tethered to abuse. I walked out with a copy of the confirmation papers. My phone buzzed. Mom, where are you? You left the house. A mess, come back and fix what you did. Another text. You owe us for letting you live there. Don't try to run. You won't get far. I didn't respond, not because I was scared, but because what I had done was bigger than any argument she could start. I blocked her. Lena called next. I blocked her too. And when I blocked the last relative who used to contact me only when they needed money, the silence that replaced it was almost peaceful. I walked to the bus stop, the world around me finally feeling wide instead of suffocating. My body still felt drained, but my mind felt sharp enough to split their years of manipulation in half. The bus arrived with a long hiss of brakes, and I got on. I didn't know exactly where I was heading. A motel, a friend's couch, maybe even a shelter temporarily, but anything was safer than the house I'd nearly died in. As I sat down, my phone vibrated one last time. A voicemail from my mother. Her voice was angry, but underneath it, I heard something unfamiliar. Panic. Taylor, you're being ridiculous. Come home right now. I'm not playing games. And don't make us responsible for you if something happens. You hear me? Do not make us responsible. I smiled, because she didn't know yet. Actions had consequences, and I had spent the morning legally cutting every tie that let her pretend she owned my life or my money. She wasn't responsible for me anymore, not legally, not financially, not medically. She could scream, demand, threaten, guilt trip. None of it mattered anymore. I replayed the moment I passed out on the floor, her voice saying, "If you're dying, you won't need this money anyway." Her hand in my wallet instead of calling for help. And the clarity of that moment returned, cold and steady. She had chosen my money over my life, so I chose my life over everything she wanted from me. The bus pulled out of the station and sunlight spilled across my lap. My hands rested on the confirmation papers, the proof that she would never control anything about me again. I leaned my head against the window. For the first time, I didn't feel like I had escaped. I felt like I had begun, and the silence that followed wasn't empty. It was freedom, the kind they never wanted me to taste, the kind they never thought I'd choose, the kind that made all of their control crumble in a single morning. I closed my eyes, breathed deeply, and whispered to myself, "I'll never collapse for them again." And I didn't look back. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video